This is Cheryl Fortune. Thank you for watching the Message of Hope TV.
Welcome to another episode of A Message of Hope. I am your host, Christina Lockett. We are so blessed to have in the studio today. He is a pastor, he is an actor, a singer, a businessman, and so much more. Please welcome to the show, Pastor Kermit Childs.
God bless you. God bless you.
Oh, wow. You know what? When I think about all the things that you're doing, it reminds me of myself. Got so much going on.
Yes, Lord.
Got so much going on. But you know what? I want to start our conversation. Share with our audience about your personal ministry.
Amen. Well, our church and our personal ministry is, I've been pastoring for now about 15 years. Mm-hmm. I started pastoring when I was about 24 years old.
Okay.
Straight out of college, dealing with the beginning life, really.
Right.
And I was actually assistant pastor to my pastor at the time, Pastor Peggy Cooper, Insight for the Living Ministries. And through the years, God has blessed me, grown me up in so many different ways. I wasn't married, had no kids. Now I'm 14 years in marriage, 3 kids later.
Right.
But I love ministry, love people. The name of our ministry is Love Alive Family Worship Center. And God blessed me with that name based on a dream that He gave me.
Okay.
And the dream, we were, if anyone is familiar with praying for someone who's vexed with a demon or dealing with, an issue that they needed deliverance from. And we were praying in the dream, and everybody was just, calling, pleading the blood, and just calling on the name of Jesus, trying to cast out this demon. And as I was standing there, nothing was happening. And I heard the voice of God say, "Speak my love." I said, what? It didn't sound right. It didn't make sense to me.
Okay.
He said, "Just speak my love over that person." And I said, "Okay." And I told everybody, just be quiet, stop. Because everybody's just going in, praying. And I said, "The love of God cover you from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. The love of God overshadow you." And as soon as I began to pray that prayer, the demons, those things that were holding them down, began to fly out.
Right.
And right from there, God said, "It's love. That's the greatest gift. That's the thing the enemy can't stand."
Right.
And so love is what set them free, and love is what will set us free.
Yes, indeed. And so you decided to name the church
Love Alive.
That's awesome. God will show us things in a dream.
Amen.
And it's His way of speaking to us. Because you know what? When we sleep, that's the best time for Him to speak to us.
Amen.
No distractions.
Come on.
And we're in a state of mind that we're relaxed.
Yeah.
That relaxed mode.
Yeah.
But we have to be open.
Amen.
For when He does speak. Sometimes people blow their dreams off.
Right.
I don't blow them off.
Amen.
I don't blow them off. I pray and ask God for interpretation.
Yeah.
And there are some people that I'm connected to that if I can't understand, maybe they will.
Amen. Amen.
Because the Bible talk about all the gifts,
Yeah.
and that is a gift, being able to interpret the dream. So I'm glad that you was obedient here these years later, and the church is going well and successful.
Yes.
I mentioned that you're an actor, you're a singer, a businessman. Tell us about your singing and acting career.
Wow. I've been singing for as long as I can remember. My uncle, who actually raised me, was a minister of music. And I was in Northeast Texas, and he used to, as a kid, I would be scared to sing in front of people.
Really?
I was very shy. And he knew I could sing because we was always singing at home. So every time he put me up in church to sing, I start singing a line, and I see all them people out there looking and facing me, and all of a sudden, I couldn't do that. I couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
And I ended up sitting down. So for years, I didn't sing, but finally, middle school is where it kind of kicked off, and my middle school teacher made me.
She's like, "You gonna
sing
sing
from
today?"
the school.
Okay.
And in middle school, of course, I didn't want to get in front of school and start crying, and my friend would be like, "Man, what's wrong with you?"
Yes.
So that's really where it kind of started. In middle school, sang in front of the school at Hartman Middle School for their Christmas program.
And you still remember?
I still remember. I remember the song.
Yeah.
But when I got to my seat, is when I started crying.
Oh, so you
And I was
did
like, man, you
good
did
for the
good.
song.
What's wrong? Why you
Yeah.
crying? You did good. I was like, y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know what's going on.
Yes, but you know
that's
what? That you know that makes me think about how the things that we're greatest at, how the fear comes in.
Yes.
But the fear is just to stop us from really fulfilling that purpose.
Yes, it is.
Because I mean, you sing in plays and
Right.
you know travel and
Right.
all this great stuff. And your daughter, oh my God, like I should say, she's a star.
She's a star.
She sings,
Yes.
and you know you're gifted in that area.
Amen.
So I mean, looking back over your life, can't you see how that was just the enemy trying to keep you
Yes,
from
I
reaching
do.
your full potential?
Yes, I do. I also recognize too, especially if preachers, we always got something to say, but I'll keep it short. But I also recognize, especially in the music industry and within the church, that so many people are prone to be prideful. And they get caught up in their gift and what they can do and how they can do. And really, God is getting no glory. They are getting all the glory. But in so many ways, it's helped me to stay humble. No matter what accolades I get, no matter who pats me on the back, said, man, you did. I know if it wasn't for God. Because I still get nervous. I still get nervous when I deal with the crowd. But I know if it wasn't for God, I went to school for music. HSPVA, High School for Performing and Visual Arts. Went to TSU for music education. But every time I hit the stage, I don't care who it is, and I'm 38 years old now, I still deal with just a hint. I'm not afraid, but it's just nerves. It's just nervous, especially being in a new place. It's always there. But it served to keep me humble. Recognize, look, I wouldn't have the gift I have if it wasn't for him.
Yes, indeed. So do you have any upcoming plays and singing opportunities coming up?
Yeah, I actually will be a part of a production called It Is Finished. It's a play dealing with Jesus, talking about Jesus, the life of Jesus, and it's by Liz Rachel. Definitely have some more information coming, but it should be in July.
Okay.
And this year in July.
So how can people stay connected and get the information and details?
You can look me up on Facebook under Kermit Childs, KERMIT CHILDS, or you can go to KC Fashion Collection as well on Facebook, and you can find out more information about that.
All right, well, let's talk about KC Fashion Collections. I love it. I remember that's how I first met you. You had a youth explosion at your church, and I was invited to come to the youth explosion. And immediately when we walked in the door, they had your vendor's booth there. And my mom and I gravitated to one of your ties, and we had to buy one for my dad. And my brother was like, well, why y'all didn't get me one? So, we just went shopping crazy and connected to you ever since then. I still have my design that you made for me, So let's talk about KC Fashion Collection. What is it?
KC Fashion Collection is actually a business that was birthed out of my time of storm.
Okay.
It was actually a time where I wanted to buy the things I wanted to buy, but I didn't have the money.
Come on now.
And my wife had bought a sewing machine because she wanted to learn how to sew. And she tried to do it, I'd say probably a couple of weeks or so. And she said, I can't do this. She was like, baby, I can't do this. It's just, I don't have the patience for it. I can't do a straight stitch. And she put it to the side. But at the time, I was trying to buy and purchase some things that I wanted, but I didn't have the money. My money was getting short. I didn't have the money. So I said, well, let me see if I can learn how to make this design and do this. And I went to the same little lady. Her name is Sister Hurd.
Okay.
A former First Lady, Sister Hurd, and sat down with her. And she showed me how to use the machine and showed me how to create the design that I was trying to create. And I started from there. I think I may have did about a month or so worth of lessons with her, and started doing it on my own, just working, and it was therapy for me as well, as I would get on the machine and create and sew, and I started doing that, and went from there. People started asking me about my ties. Where you get that tie from? I wasn't trying to do a business. I was just trying to look good on a budget.
Good, right?
And where you get that tie? Oh, I made it. Man, will you make me one? Sure. How much you gonna? I'm not gonna charge you nothing. I would, because I wasn't thinking about a business. I was just doing it. And in the midst of that, after so long, man, I'll pay you. How much? Come on, man, I'll give you what? Because I would give it to him. No. Here, man, take this. And it started from there. And I started making my ties and started creating those, and went from there to making dresses for my daughters. And the rest was history.
The rest is history.
The rest was history.
You know what? Your ties are very unique. Kingdom ties. How did you come up with the name Kingdom Tie, and what is a kingdom tie?
A kingdom tie is it's somewhat like an ascot and a tie at the same time. You don't have to tie it. You don't have to know how to. I hated tying ties. Hated tying ties. And I had to wear them all the time, but I hated tying them. And the knot on the tie simply comes off. You just slide it in, put it on. It's customizable. You can mix and match, do polka dot stripes. It's all the things you can't do with a regular tie because the knot is separate.
Okay.
You can do all kinds of different things with it, and it also transforms into an ascot.
So it's like if I want to do an ascot, I can wear ascot.
Wear
if
ascot.
I want a tie, just slide it right on up.
I've been in one service and changed my tie in the middle of
Yes, it
the
did.
same tie. They said, "Wait a minute, did you just have on?"
Right.
You know, and I switched it, made it into an ascot, and put it
So
back in.
where did you come up with that idea? You know.
That idea actually was birthed out of, again, the fact that I don't like to tie ties. And so in doing that, when I talked with Miss Hurd, I was like, how can I, create this? How can I make this where I don't have to tie this tie? And we worked to try to figure out a design to create the knot, to give it that, give it the shape like a tie's knot. Without having to, we can just slide it on.
Right.
So really, she was the one that that really gave me. I did this is what I want to do.
She helped you bring the birth.
And she helped me bring it to birth.
Birthday. Yes. You know what? For somebody that's watching right now, I definitely want you to understand that if you pray and ask God to give you creative ideas, He will give it to you. The ideas, the visions that God placed on the inside of you, that is your door to increase.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we're asking people, how can I prosper? How can I go to the next level? It's already in you.
Amen.
You just need somebody like a Sister Hearn.
Come on.
To stir it up
That's
and
right.
help that vision come to pass.
That's right.
And so the kingdom tie, and my dad doesn't know how to tie a tie. He's a pastor, so he's wearing ties.
Yeah.
So he loves his kingdom ties.
Amen.
And my brother, he's just a fashionable person.
Yeah.
So he thought he was all that and then some to get one.
Yeah.
But you have given birth to the kingdom tie, but then the royal tie, what's the difference?
Okay, what I have on now is a royal tie.
Okay.
So it just basically, it's already pre-tied. It's already made. It's more for like a formal event, something, of course I wear them to church. But it just depends on the person. It goes well with the tux. Goes well with something like that, a vest, things of that nature. And it just goes on like a bow tie. Just strap it in the back. And it's ready to go. Now, this also can become an ascot.
Okay.
Same thing, same concept, but it just doesn't have a removable knot.
Yes, indeed. I don't know if you remember this, but years ago when I asked you to be a guest on a radio broadcast, I still have the same vision that the Lord showed me then, and it's just a matter of time for it to come to pass. Steve Harvey has a line.
Yeah.
And we all know Stacey Adams been around forever. But I do believe by faith that God will allow KC Fashion Collection to be a standard in the men's store. Because so many men don't know how to tie a tie.
Right.
But guess what? They still want to look good.
Yes, they do.
They want that. And you have a knack for choosing the right patterns.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I never forget just walking in, your vending table right there, and that pattern just, caught my attention. That's a gift. And I just believe that God will do it. He will do it. Everything that we need is already in us.
It's already in us.
Yes.
It really is. It's
already in us. Glory to God. Well, you know what? Multiple streams of income. Singing, acting, ministry, business. What have you learned thus far in everything that you have going on in your life?
You know what? I have learned, I believe that humbleness is definitely the key. If there's anything that I could stress or could preach or could try to impart it to somebody, is to stay humble. Being from a musical background, before pastoring and before moving into that, like I said a little bit earlier, I see so often that people get puffed up with pride. They become arrogant. I mean, singers, musicians, pastors, they all do. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them are prone, and we just as people, human nature. You know, when people pat you on the back and give you so many, you know, it's prone to puff you up sometimes. You know, but one of the things that I could say, if you remain humble, God said, if you humble yourself,
thank you, Jesus.
He said, I'll exalt you in due time. You know, we know of Satan, the devil, whose original name was Lucifer, or son of the morning. You know, the reason why he's where he is because pride. You know, pride set in. Same thing he tried to do in the garden with Eve and with Adam. You know, trying to push that same thing. Did God really say?
Right.
You know, think about it. You know, he said, you know, that's going to make you wise. Going to make you, you know, touching on that area where we're prone to get beside ourselves and think we're all that. You know, and we know the Bible said pride comes before a fall.
Yes, that's the word.
You know, it comes before a fall. And if we can stay humble, God will use you. God can take you to all sorts of heights. He'll open doors before you because you'll be able to give him the glory and say, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I didn't do it. I ain't the one that made this.
Glory.
I didn't bring myself to this place, but it was God himself. You know, and I know that. You know, and even one other thing I'd say about me and my wife, we have a ministry called KTLA. Okay. Which stands for Keeping the Love Alive.
Okay.
And that was also something that God gave us years ago. You know, and then even newly in marriage, you know, for couples and especially for the church.
Right.
Because many times we're church and we recognize we're church, we're pastoring, you know, you got service, you got Bible study, you got all these things going on, you work, you got kids. But then what time do you have for each other?
You got to make time for each other.
You got to make time for each other. And I would push that, you know, make time for your mate, make time for your spouse, date. Yes. Don't stop dating because you got married.
Right.
So we date. We go. We're going to dance. We're going to have fun. We're going to, all these things that the church says, you know, we don't do all that.
Right.
You know, but you need that. You know, you need that recreation. You need that time. And you ain't going to hell. Because you're dancing with your wife.
Right. That's your wife.
That's your boo. That's your wife. So you got to enjoy each other. Spend time with each other. And that's something that we push, and we added that to the church, Love Alive, and then Family Worship Center.
Yeah, you know what? I noticed y'all had a event not too long ago. Yeah, you know I keep up. I keep up. I stay in the loop. I got to know what's going on.
Amen.
Hallelujah. You know what? And I'm glad you said that because I think that sometimes when we do get in the body of Christ, we cut off some things. Yeah. There are some things to cut off, but there are some things that God will lead you to keep it going.
Right.
You know, because it'll get stale real quick, and that's what the enemy wants.
That's right.
Because we already know that he's attacking marriages.
Yes, he is.
He's attacking relationships, you know. And so in order to keep it where God wants to keep it, you have to do things to keep it, like you said, keep it alive. Keep it alive. I like that. I like that. You know, when you were talking about humility, it really touched my heart. Yeah. There are a lot of things that I do. You know, I'm an educator. I teach science. You know, the radio show, the television ministry, authoring books. And then there are things that people don't know I do. Like they don't know who inboxes me. Right. They don't know who texts me or email me. They don't know who God says, Christina, send them a message. They don't know about that one-on-one personal ministry that's always going on. And when I go places, you know, they always ask you like for a bio and sometimes I hear them saying my bio and I'm like, you know, but I don't put that out there like that. I just let God be God and I let my light shine, right? And so when you were talking about humility, it actually brought some tears to my eyes because last year the Lord blessed us to go to the Stellar Awards and I was able to, you know, do a few things. But this year, the Stellar Awards 2017, the Lord has given us media credentials that's on a whole nother level, red carpet privileges, every event, you know, a message of hope will be there. So I definitely want you to stay connected so that you can see some of the video clips. But I said all that to say, I believe it's the humility that opened up that door. Because I don't go around, oh, I'm a host, I'm an author. You know, I don't do that. I don't have to.
Right.
God will open those doors for you. He'll promote you.
That's right.
And then things that you didn't even think you were qualified to do. God will fix it and give you the qualifications.
Come on now.
and He will work it all out.
Yeah.
But of course, the humility is the key factor. That's why, I just continue to let you talk. But I'm sitting here just like my eyes getting a little teary, and I'm not real sentimental. It takes a lot for me to cry. But I'm like, I see the hand of God.
Yeah.
And so for somebody that's watching right now, be humble.
Yeah.
Be humble and trust God. Just like you mentioned the business, step out.
Yeah.
And God will, if you don't know, He'll send someone to teach you.
Yes,
There's
He
still
will.
a lot of things that I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some terminologies I don't know because I wasn't trained in that area.
Right.
My training is in education, not communication.
Amen.
But guess
Amen.
what? This is the area He's anointed me to be in.
Come on.
So He's going to make sure that I learn what I need to learn, and what I don't know, He will send the right
He'll
people.
send the right people. That's right.
Oh my God.
Yes, Lord.
I'm grateful today.
Yes, Lord.
And talking with you has got me all excited.
Amen.
Yes, indeed.
Amen.
Well, we do have a few more minutes on the show, and oftentimes, especially when I have guest ministers, I give them the opportunity to share something that's on their heart, because I know that God speaks to us. He's always speaking. And so I will open up the floor just to kind of share something that's on your heart. I know as we were talking, I know God is really speaking to someone about business, and don't be afraid to step out. Do not be afraid. Step out on faith, and God will send everything that you need. All the provisions will be made. So that's what I feel in my heart, prophetically, what God is saying. But what is God saying to you right now that you definitely want to share with our audience?
Amen. And it's on those same lines. When I think of Mary Kay, she comes to mind. And I believe when she started in her business, she ultimately stepped out, and she ended up going bankrupt. And she came back. She stayed at it because she believed she had something, and she came back. And when she came back even stronger. Now you got pink Cadillacs, you got pink Jaguars, you got them all over the place because she was dedicated, and she believed in what she had. Even when I really didn't believe in what I was able to do, my wife was there. And I was just trying to do my little ties, and people would offer me money, to make them, and I said, oh no, and many times I was second guessing my ability, and I was like, oh, I can't, I can't do this. I'm barely, doing this for me,
right?
Let alone for somebody else.
Yes.
And she would say, you can do it. They said they like it. They want to pay for it.
Let them pay for it.
And she would keep telling me, and I'd be like, no, I don't even know what to charge. She said, well, how much time did it take you to do what? And I kept keeping it here because I didn't really, quote unquote, believe in what my ability.
Yes.
But all the while she was there pushing me. You can do it. You can do it. I said, I can't make a dress. Oh yeah, you can. Just try it. And I stepped out and did it. And I say that to you, whoever's watching. You might have a dream. You might even second guess yourself. But if you believe and stick with it, stay focused on it, I guarantee you. God will help you perfect it, and He'll connect you to the right people.
Yes, divine connections.
The people that you need. And you said something. It's a lot of terminology. I didn't go to school for design,
right?
Or I didn't go to school. There are people that that have gone to school to do this and gone to school to do that. I went to YouTube University. Sitting in my garage.
Yes.
My little room in my garage, just in there with my music on, and creating and figuring out. And God will give me things, and He will put things in my mind. So I can say that to you: if God is giving you something, if God is giving you a dream, God is giving you a vision, step out on it. And if God give you vision, He'll give you the provision.
Yes, He will.
He'll give you what you need. And I even had people that would sponsor. Some of my customers bought me sewing machines, bought me embroidery. I didn't ask for it. These were things that God did.
Yes, He did.
That God did, and I can testify. That God will answer, and God will move in your life. And if you stay focused, He'll lead you.
He'll lead you all the way.
All the way.
All the way. There's no half stepping in God. No. Yes, indeed. I am so glad that you were able to share with us and share your story and share your testimony. I just believe by faith that this is the year 2017 for us to do more,
Amen.
go higher,
Amen.
stretch further. I know that in this season, a lot of people are nervous. A lot of people are walking in fear because of our administration.
Right.
And some are comfortable with the administration, but then they don't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
But I just believe that those of us who are saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost, and know how to get a prayer through,
Amen.
I believe that God is going to make sure we are all right.
That's right.
Yes, it is. This is our time to flourish.
That's right. That's right.
You know, in spite of what's going on around us, we are going to flourish.
That's right.
You know, we could look at it in the Bible days where some people were having famine while everybody was eating plenty.
Come on.
You know,
and the saints will be satisfied.
There you go.
The scripture says.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. And this is our season to flourish.
Amen.
You know, so I definitely just want to speak life over you.
Bless you.
Amen. I still see it.
Amen.
Your business, your gifts, they
Yes.
will make you a multi-millionaire.
I receive that.
They will.
I
They
receive
will.
that.
And so, you know, make sure you got all your patents.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Amen.
You know, make sure you got all the
Yeah.
business stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, and just, you know, allow God to breathe on it.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
so we thank God that you were able to come on a message of hope, and we pray for just extreme exposure.
Thank you, Lord.
Extreme exposure. So I want to take this time to share with our audience how they can connect with you again as far as, you know, ministry engagements. You know, maybe they have a trade show that you could be a part of. Just all the information that they need to connect with you in your ministry.
Amen. To connect with me in my ministry, you can reach me at KC Fashion Collection at yahoo.com is a email address, as well as telephone number 207-200-8437. Again, that's 207-200-8437. And at the church and ministry engagements, 832-615-3554.
Amen. Thank you so much, man of God.
Thank you.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much for watching A Message of Hope. As always, we are praying that your soul is inspired and that you receive all the hope that God has for your life. Follow me on all social media platforms. And if you need more information or more inspiration, go to my website at www.christinalockett.com.
I'm going to do it for him. Listen, this is Bishop Samuel McGill, CEO of Stellar Award-winning All Nations Radio. I'm with my girl, Christina Lockett, right here on the red carpet. Now go run tell that.
Don't run, tell that. That's good. Thank you, man.